Mastering to -14 LUFS is a myth. Anybody who says just do that and you're gonna be fine, don't listen to him, man. Hey man, quick question. If these meters are all showing different numbers, how are you supposed to know if your mix is loud enough? That's the problem with peak, average level, and LUFS. In this video, I'm gonna show you how I use all three in Pro Tools with some Waves plugins so that your mixes stop getting rejected, stop sounding weak next to other songs, and they stop getting turned down. We've got three main loudness views or meters that we need to deal with when mixing a record. Peak is gonna be the first one. This is gonna be those spikes in the audio that can cause clipping. VU, average level, RMS, that's the overall vibe and energy of the song. It's what's actually moving the listener. LUFS determines how loud the whole track feels over time. This is what streaming services use to determine your loudness. I like to think about this in three stages. Stage one, don't clip. That's gonna be our peak. Stage two, how does it feel? How is that energy? That's gonna be the VU. And stage three, make sure that it's loud enough for everywhere that this song is gonna be played. That's LUFS. Let's address stage one. On my tracks in Pro Tools, I like to use the Pro Tools Classic metering. If you're new to Pro Tools, your Pro Tools probably defaults to sample peak. It's not that one is more accurate than the other. It's mainly that the Classic metering is something that I'm used to, and the tail of the signal falls a little quicker. I like to use Pro Tools Classic, yes, because I'm used to it, but I like that fast response that the meters give. Let's take a look and just see how Pro Tools Classic reacts.
If they acting sloppy, moving
right, so we can see how our peak meters classically, like whenever that sound hits, right, when that sounds off, we see that meter move, and we can see even a little peak hold indicator. That's what these two little blips here represent. If I change this to sample peak metering,
I'm cutting ties with
you can see just how that tail drifts off. The metering is a little bit different. That's fine. No matter which one you choose to use, just make sure that your signals aren't clipping. That's the main thing that I like to go off of. You want to have your signals be at a good, healthy, average level. Something really important to keep in mind here is that adjusting the track fader in Pro Tools or any other DAW is only adjusting the output level of that signal. If you record your signals too hot and they clip on the converters, that is something that we can't undo. And if it's just a file that you're working with and that came in too hot, one thing that I would recommend doing is going in using like a clip gain, right? You see we have a little clip gain indicator right here on our tracks in Pro Tools that we can raise or lower the level that that track came in. So if you're working with stuff, you're just doing a mix and that mix and the files came in too hot, use clip gain rather than the track's channel fader to adjust that level, the peak level, because again, it's the plugins that are going to have the hard time working with files that are too loud or too quiet. They just might make mistakes if the signal is not coming in at the right level. So use the fader as the output level adjustment. Here's the beauty though. If your tracks clip on the output, let's just say like I had all of these drums. I'm going to let's just make a bus real quick. We'll just, whatever. Everything is not in here, but I'm going to call it drums anyway, all right? And I'm going to route this drums bus out to my mix bus, and I'll explain this as well as we going along. But let's see. There's my mix, okay?
I'm cutting ties with anybody.
The dope thing is,
I'm cutting ties with anybody if they acting sloppy.
This is really dope. I'm pushing up the drums just to intentionally make them too loud in this mix, right? And we can see that even though it is pushing 7 dB over 0, we are still not in the red. It's still not clipping. And that's because Pro Tools works in this floating point environment to where anything that we do on our tracks in Pro Tools can be recovered, and we can still have all the detail and resolution of our file as long as we are mixing in that environment and the actual tracks aren't clipping themselves. And another important point is that we don't have anything over 0 dB full scale, 0 dB FS being printed or routed out to our converter. So you can clip internally all you want to. Here's a little magic that I found to help me whenever I'm doing that. So let's just say that I end up blending all my tracks and I like the balance of them, but as they sum together, I realize that they're being summed too loud. I have put a master fader before the mix bus. So this master fader is actually controlling the levels of that mix bus. And here's the beauty of working in this floating point environment in Pro Tools is that I can then use this master fader to turn down the overall level of the mix. And even though this individual bus is overloading or pushing values past 0 dBFS, I can recover that by simply pulling this master fader down and still have all the full resolution, no clipping or any of that in my mix. This is super useful. You can use a master fader to control any bus or any path. I specifically like to use it on the path for my mix bus just in case I mix a little bit too loud, because one thing about me is that after I kind of set my vibe in the mix, I'm going off feeling and I'm not always watching meters. So if the meters ever get too loud, I can always use this master fader to pull back and recover the mix at the right level. So do you need to worry about clipping? Yes, you need to worry about clipping when you are recording. You need to worry about clipping when you are exporting your final mix. As you're mixing internally, just make sure you're not overloading any plugins, but everything else can be recovered. And there's beauty in knowing that. All right, so once I got the level set in the mix and I've passed the point of worrying about clipping, now I'm worried about the overall energy, vibe, and feel of the mix. That's where a VU meter comes in. VU is like you literally voltage units. It shows how the electricity is moving in the mix, right? And this is good because this is how listeners are going to perceive how your mix is moving. So I put my VU meter as the top insert on my mix bus, the very first thing, and I'm mixing into it and occasionally watching this meter. Again, you watch it occasionally because, hey, even if it's too loud or too quiet, we have this master fader control that we can use to push more or pull back from the mix bus. So what I'm looking for on the mix bus is that I want the main elements of my songs, like my kicks, the bass, the vocals. I want those to kind of drive the movement. That's what the people are going to dance to. How this meter is moving, that kind of determines how people are going to dance. So if we listen to this mix, we can see that kick in the snare is really moving the VU, right? And that's going to be important for a song like this, right? With a boom bap style hip hop record, we want that meters to kind of be booming and bapping. Now, the overall goal here is to have the main levels kind of average around 0 VU. I'm calibrated to -18. I'll make a whole nother video to get into the calibration of VU meters. If you want me to, just let me know down in the description of this video. But for right now, -18 is a great starting place. I'm hovering around 0 VU, and you notice though that my kicks and my snare kind of push past that a little bit. That's fine. We're not clipping in the VU. We're not going over. So for me, that energy, that movement of the mix is feeling good. If the VU meters are slammed too hard to one side, that can probably mean that, hey, you're mixing too loud and you don't have enough dynamics in the music. Like everything is just too loud the whole time. You're probably over compressing stuff or over compressing your entire mix, and it's just slamming and it's loud the whole time. We want this VU meter to be moving. We want it to be dancing. That shows that we have dynamics in our mix. If the VU meter is barely moving, again, you have a problem with dynamics in your mix. You need to make some stuff stand out a little more and pull other things back. VU doesn't care about the tallest or loudest peaks. It cares about the average energy. When I'm watching it, I'm not necessarily looking for exact numbers to hit, but I'm looking for movement of the track. When it comes to the final deliverable of your mix, that's when the LUFS matter. And if you've been mixing how I taught you, like building up saturation over time, proper gain staging of your mix, you won't have to spend a lot of heavy lifting doing limiting and trying to get your mix loud at the last stage. One plugin that I like to keep on the end of my mix bus chain is the WLM Waves Loudness meter. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for, Waves Loudest meter. But this is pretty dope because we can see our long-term LUFS, we can see our short-term LUFS, and then we can see the range. Now that range, that's basically says how dynamic is the mix, right? So we want to not necessarily aim for certain values here, but I like to look and see where I'm at.
I'm cutting ties with anybody if they acting sloppy. Moving solo tunnel vision, I don't need no copy.
Now, we can see here that my short-term LUFS is about -12 and my long-term is about -11. Now, what does that mean? That means that this mix is pretty hot. Some people are gonna tell you, hey, always mix to -14 LUFS or whatever. I don't go by that at all. I don't think that that's valid because the loudness standard is really a listening perspective. You can go into, like, I can go into my Apple Music. I can go to my settings here. And let's see, if I go to the playback, I can choose to turn off the normalization. Let's see, where is that at? Sound check, right? So this is the normalization. If you have Spotify, this is available. If you have Tidal, this is available. Sound check automatically adjusts the song playback volume to the same level. I don't want to do that, right? That's where all of this debate about how loud we need to master comes, because everybody is saying, oh, Spotify plays back at this level. iTunes plays back at this level. Well, listen, man. If you're an engineer like myself or a music producer, a music lover, turn that loudness normalization off and listen to the song as the mixer intended. And as a mixer, stop chasing loudness and just make the loudness of the record match the energy of that record. Yeah, I'm mixing to -12 on this particular song because it's a boom bap hip hop song that lends itself to be loud like that. If this was a classic, like a classical song or a ballad or something like that, no way I would want it to be that loud. So the loudness is really a playback standard, not a standard for us to mix or master to. But it's good to know where your mix stands in terms of LUFS. That way you have an idea of how it's going to sound next to other songs on the same playlist. My favorite new limiter is the Waves L4, and they actually have a LUFS meter built in, and it also shows true peak. I don't worry about true peak at this point in the game. I'm not even going to talk about it. If you want to learn about true peak, go and study that somewhere else. That's not what I worry about or listen for at all anymore. It used to be a big thing, not anymore. I'm gonna move past that. But the L4 Ultramaximizer, this limiter has been great. It has a LUFS meter built in. So if you don't want to use the Waves WLM meter, you don't have to. You can look at this LUFS meter right here. My limiting process is pretty simple. I'll start off kind of just listening for the vibe of the record. Again, I'm not trying to limit this based on how loud it is, but just on how the song feels. Let's listen to see how limiting changes the feel of the song. So right now, before any limiting, we already hitting about -15 LUFS. That's pretty good. I could just submit this song, send it out without limiting it at all, but I think that the sound of this record would benefit from having some limiting done to it. And I am using the L2 mode, man. I just think that the L2 sound works great for like this classic hip hop vibe. And I love that the L4 introduced the different algorithms that we can use to limit. So I'm just simply gonna pull this threshold down until I like how it's sounding.
Don't do mess, I build peace like it's origami. Clean break, no text back, man, I do it properly.
It's starting to pull everything together, a little more aggression.
Kept receipts on loyalty, tab is getting pricey. They was cold on a kid and now they moving icy. They say you've changed, I say I'm moving wisely. Used to break bread, now I'm breaking silence.
And that's honestly about as loud as I wanted to get. Like, that is about as much glue as I think is needed. And it just happens to be pretty loud at that point. For my hip hop and R&B records, I usually end up at about this loudness. But when I'm working on more R&B style, more ballad type of records, I'm normally about -17, -16 LUFS, maybe even quieter. I only care about LUFS when the track is actually about to leave the DAW. I'll look at it. It may or may not inform any changes that I make, but yeah, that's the only time that I really even look at LUFS. Mastering to -14 LUFS is a myth. Anybody who says just do that and you're gonna be fine, don't listen to them, man. Different platforms normalize to different levels and they change their mind about it all the time. So don't let that inform your mix decisions. Normalization is a playback choice, not a mastering law. So instead of chasing a magical, mythical LUFS number, I just use my LUFS meter to determine where I am. And from there, I can choose what loudness matches the feel, the vibe, and the groove of the song that I'm working on. Okay, let me recap my whole system so that you can screenshot it and steal it. Stage 1, don't clip. This is where peak meters come in, right? I like to use the Pro Tools Classic meters, but if you're using True Peak, that's fine as well. Remember that we have that master fader controlling our mix bus. So if things get too loud as they're summed together, we can use that master fader to control any peaks or overs, bring them down. As long as we are not clipping on the way out of the DAW, we'll be just fine. Stage 2 is where we get the feeling right, using a VU meter or RMS meter if that's what you prefer. Me, I like to put the Waves VU meter at the top of my mix bus, and then I monitor it occasionally to make sure that the song is moving how I want to. Not necessarily as loud as it needs to be or watching out for peaks, but is that song moving and grooving like it needs to? Stage 3, this is where you make it travel. This is where you make sure that the mix is going to translate in loudness no matter what streaming service or platform that you choose to put it on. Look at the WLM meters. Evaluate where you are in terms of LUFS, in terms of short-term LUFS and long-term LUFS, and make a decision that not just makes the streaming services happy, but makes the record happy. A question to ask yourself on this might be, is my loudness in a healthy enough range without killing the punch and dynamics? In today's example, I used the Waves VU meter, the WLM Plus, and the L4 Ultramaximizer alongside Pro Tools Classic peak meters. If you're already in the Waves ecosystem, you probably have some of these plugins and just sleeping on them. Go ahead and slap them on your next mix, watch how the meters react, and that's when it's all really gonna make sense for you. In the comments, what is the loudest LUFS you've ever achieved on a mix, and what is the quietest LUFS level you've ever sent a mix out at? Let me know in the comments below. I wanna get y'all feeling on this, man. Did the louder LUFS sound better than the one that you did at the quieter LUFS setting? Let's see. And of course, if there's anything else that y'all want to learn about metering or mixing, mastering, anything else, drop a comment down in the description and let me know. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyProAudio.com, man. Be dope.